Talofa ladies.
Talofa.
Talofa ni mai. Yes.
Warm Pacific greetings, and it is Tuvaluan Language Week, so talofa to all those from the islands of Tuvalu. It is great to be here for our Pacific Health Talanoa, and it's always great to have Balangisu in the house, in the whale today.
Talofa Murphy and Nimai, and talofa to all the Tuvaluans there, and all the Pacific families. Good to be here once again. Yeah.
Yeah, and in our last Pacifica Health Talanoa, we talked about portion control. I know it is one of the difficult things for us as Pacific to look at how much we are eating. And we used dinner and hikingaua or dessert to look at what does how much looks like for good health for us. And that was last week.
Yes,
Balangisu.
That's right. And so Muffy, I remember I brought along this little colourful plate here from Diabetes New Zealand, which has the plate divided into half for the colourful vegetables and then a quarter for those starchy, whitish kind of foods like your taro and your potato and your green banana and your cassava and yes, kumara even, and then a quarter for the meat or the fish or the chicken. And I know we used our handy tool, didn't we, Muffy, to try and keep to our portions on our plate.
Yeah, and using handy tool for our colourful vegetables, which is half of the plate, and I'm just putting out two of my big huge hands cupped in front of the plate. So that gives us an idea of how much colourful vegetables we should be having. Not the one hand, but two together is how much we should
have. For a meal,
it.
Isn't it?
Yes.
For a dinner.
For dinner.
Yeah. And I was thinking quite often on this plate, this colourful plate here, they've put all the vegetables over half the plate. But I know a lot of families don't have vegetables like that, do they?
Yeah, because it can be added to curry. It could be a stew or a soup or a casserole. And I know for us Tongans, we'll add it to chop suey or stir fry.
Yeah.
So it can be mixed up in the
meal. As long
as
it's the two handfuls, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Mixed up or on the half of the plate.
That's right.
And the handy tool for those starchy vegetables and things like rice.
So we use a guide of just putting a fist because it's round like taro, potato, kumara, our manioca, cassava, could be green bananas or Samoan banana. So it could be rice as well. Or pasta or spaghetti as quarter of the plate. But putting it into a fist gives you an idea of how much.
And we should be using our own fist, shouldn't we, Muffy? And not like your husband's, but maybe your fist's bigger than your husband's.
Probably. I've got two bigger hands.
You've got a big hand, you're lucky. Yeah, and for our the Pacific favourite, the meat, the chicken, the pork, the fish,
seafood.
Yes. So for the meat side of things,
we put out rather than the fist, putting it out. So with the fingers, it will be fish, and just the alfinima or just the palm of the hand without the fingers, as I'm pointing to my hand, that will be like chicken or beef or sepi or mutton, lamb, pork. In there. So that's how much it should look like on your plate.
And your fish is your whole hand, isn't it? With your fingers together. Yes. Yeah. So you can have a little bit more for the fish. That's awesome. Thank you, Muffy. And so we've talked about breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks, and we thought that this week we could go into how we could put them all together and for families, so they might be able to do a bit of planning maybe.
Yeah, so planning your meals that you have in a day. That's right.
And I was thinking though, Muffy, planning meals sounds like a bit of a hassle to me. Like, I know families are already busy, working, school, you've got relatives coming over, you've got choir, there's sports, there's this and that and the other thing. So, why would families bother to do a meal plan for the week when everybody's busy anyway? It sounds like a big hassle. Is it a hassle?
It sounds, from what you're describing, with all the business in many of our families, it does call for us that we should then be bothered to be planning meals, because we have a life full of so many things happening all in one go.
Yes.
And we should be bothered in that sense, so that we have more efficiency and less stress when we know, when we've planned it, that it's not going to be bombarding us in one go.
So it's actually going to help with the busyness by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
So you're not getting home at the end of the day and think, oh, what am I going to make for tea? You've got it all there ready to go.
Yeah, and because you've planned it beforehand, you'll know what goes into your food, so you're a bit more wiser in the choices, so you've got better healthier choices, healthier foods that you choose to have for your meals, for your family.
And that's nice to know that the family's getting the nutrition that they need, isn't it?
Definitely. And also, one of the other key things is, if you're planning your meals, you can save a lot of money by preparing them at home. And when you're preparing your food at home, it is a great opportunity for your children, for the family, to learn new skills, and also be role model of doing it, because the kids will copy what you do, that you're preparing food, learning different things as well, and it's counting, it could be reading, and so
making
forth.
a list.
Yeah, so in a lot of what we're talking about, we should be bothered as specific to plan meals. It's not something that we do a lot as specific, but I think it's the benefits is far, far more than the hassle of actually planning meals.
And so when we're planning, Muffy, what sort of things should we keep in mind? There's probably a couple of things.
Yeah, and a couple of things that we've spoken about earlier is upping the vegetables, bulking with vegetables, putting our two hands together. And we could do that by adding the mixed vegetables or fresh vegetables when they're in season. A good opportunity in the season of spring in New Zealand to grow vegetables and add those in. And when you're adding on, you can take some things out that's a bit more expensive, like the meat. So put in the vegetables that are cheaper per kilo, and you can grow them at home. And less of the meat, because they are a lot more expensive, like $19 a kilo or $10 a kilo.
And I know there's places, you were mentioning that last week, Muffy, about there are places to get cheaper vegetables, and I know these frozen ones, Pack and Save and some of the biggest supermarkets, actually all supermarkets often have one on special, so they're great if you've got a freezer to throw them in. But even just these fresh vegetables, at the local market, at the local greengrocer, like you mentioned, the in-season ones, so we can get them cheaper and a lot cheaper than meat, like you say. So amp up the vegetables and amp down the meat.
And also when we're looking at healthy eating that we've covered in earlier programs, is that when we are planning meals, we're more likely to make sure that the foods and the ingredients that we choose from are those from the 4 food groups, so that we get the wholeness of all the things that we need from food to help us be the best we can.
And what were those 4 food groups again, Muffy?
Oh, you're testing me,
now. I know.
Well, we've talked about colourful vegetables.
Yes.
It goes together with our fruit. I've got a reminder here with Granny Smith, a green apple, and another group we've talked about, the favourite, the meat.
Oh, yes.
And the seafood. And then we've also talked about, no, we haven't talked about it, but it's the grains. So our pasta, our rice, our breads, porridge would be in there. And then the last group is everything. I've got a bottle of yogurt in front of me. So, anything made from milk, including milk, is the 4th group. So planning meals, why we should be bothered about planning meals, is that we have a better chance of making sure that we have all the foods from the 4 food groups.
So include those within the plan. Sounds like a good idea. So we were talking about cost, Muffy, and I know in the studio today we have, quite a few lovely pictures of food here, and there was a really terrific piece of research done a couple of years ago at Auckland University by Sally Mackay. She did a PhD on it, and she compared, because we hear a lot of people in our nutrition courses, a lot of families say, takeaways are a lot cheaper than cooking at home. And this piece of research showed the opposite, actually. So we just thought we'd share a bit of what Sally found out. It's not, and she wasn't talking about cooking a meal from scratch at home. It was more throwing a meal together. Like it might be using frozen veggies or frozen wedges and, a box of fish that we've got in the freezer. But it ended up being cheaper and quicker. So we've got a few examples here, haven't we, Muffin?
Yeah.
So what's your first one?
The first one, this is talking about making meals for for a family of six people.
That's right.
And I'm holding up a photo of KFC. So for a family of 6 people, it will cost $35. But if you actually make similar meals at home, and I'm putting up a photo of a bit of salads, chicken and a roll, and that would cost for a family of 6 $18. So that saving that's a saving of $18 for family of 6
meal.
For that meal. So $35 for KFC.
Yep.
But if you prepared this similar meal at home, it's $17, and that saves you $18. So in a year, that's $936 saved.
Gosh!
By just one dinner swapped over
so
from
nearly
a
$1,000 saved.
So
just
nearly
by swapping
$1,000
once
by
a week, swapping KFC for a home prepared
meal.
And I know I've got one here. This is a real favourite, is the fish and chips. And for 6 people, it costs about $29-30 for fish and chips. But if we decide to do it at home, and we've got here just some frozen fish fillets, and we've got a bag of wedges that we're going to put in the oven, and we've got some frozen veggies, so literally 10 minutes to throw that together if you've got the oven on. That came to $14.50 for 6 people, and that was a saving of nearly $15 for that meal, and over a year that would be $750 saved. So that means we've got $1,000 and another $750. So we've already saved $750, Muffy.
Yeah.
So Palani Sue's pretty happy about this. So what's our next one?
So next one, if we are at McDonald's, and this is from the research, one cheeseburger and small fries. But the photo I've got in front of us here in the studio is chips and Big Mac burger and an apple pie. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but from the research, if it's cheeseburger and small fries, that's $24. Making that at home, it will be $16.30. But looking at the saving side, it's $7.70 saved by doing that switch. So about $400 a year saved by doing that switch. But if you're purchasing a Big Mac combo or a bigger burger, you'll be saving a lot
Even
more than
more.
$400 a year.
And you can make some really cool burgers at home, and the kids can have whatever they like in them. It's actually really quite good fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we must be up over the $2,000 now, aren't we?
So we had 1,700.
So let's see if we can make it even more.
2,100.
So another favourite in the research was beef chow mein, and I know this one here is more chicken fried rice, but the beef chow mein for 6 in a family cost about $23, but making it at home just with some frozen vegetables, some schnitzel, just lightly pan fried, some rice and maybe a sauce was $18.30, so it was a saving of nearly $5 over a year. That's another $250 we can add on to our savings.
Yeah.
And then we had...
And then what we've got next is pizza. So if we're purchasing pizza to feed 6 people, we'll spend $30 takeaway. But if we buy our own ingredients, make similar pizza at home, for 6 people, $15.80. So that's a saving of $14.20. So in a year, it's about $740 saved by just doing that switch across.
And I think the lucky last, Muffy, this wasn't part of the research, but we thought we'd add it in there because it is a favourite, isn't it?
Yes.
I think you should do this one.
Yes, this is a 12-ounce bisupo or corned beef or kapapulu. And one person can actually finish a whole 12-ounce. But we can make the meal go further and feed a lot more people by draining the fat off the corned beef and adding a lot more vegetables and bulking it up.
So even just the frozen veggies,
even frozen vegetables
with some rice,
yeah.
It?
But silver beet grows like weed in New Zealand, especially Auckland and the warmer climates. Chop that in with tomatoes. If tomatoes are expensive, then canned tomatoes will be as good to put in. And
so what is our grand total, Muffy, that we've saved from our meals for our week? We've done our own meal plan, haven't we?
Yeah, and can you believe it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meals ready to go.
Yeah, so can you believe it, Sue? It will be around $3,000 or just over $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
A year saved from just little baby steps.
Yes.
That you've made that switch. So we don't realise, and we're only talking about the money side, but I know before the program we talked about the savings as well, or the costs that we save or avoid in terms of our health.
At the family's health.
So it means that we are not spending a lot of money on doctors' fees.
That's true.
Petrol to go back and forth to the doctors and to the hospitals.
And to the takeaway.
And you feel much better, and we can't put a value
on
to feeling good and feeling happy and moving a lot more and doing things for our family in such a busy life. So there's a lot more of why we should be bothering to actually spend a little bit of time to plan meals.
And we should probably finish on that note, Muffy, because we've run out of time yet again. It just goes so fast. But so some really good reasons to be bothered to plan some meals. And next time, shall we go into this a little bit further as to, how we do this? We'll have some simple tips about that.
Yeah, definitely. It will be great for the next program. But just quickly about why we should be bothered. It's saving money. Less stress, better nutrition or better health for our families. We learn new skills and we are role modeling good health and good practices.
That's great.
So next time we'll show them how.
Absolutely, it's all about the how.
So from all of us, tofa, and thank you so much for joining us. We do have a prize to give away, so don't go away, but do call in to the studio with Nemai. And let's see who then will win that prize.
And have a lovely week from Palangisu as well. Tofa.
Pasifika Health Talanoa, proudly brought to you by Pacific Heartbeat at the Heart.